the world view would be like back then. I mean, because what is life expectancy back then, like 26?
Yeah, something like that. It's another story about a gluttonous king, but it makes less sense than the other ones. But evidently it killed back in merry old England.
You know when you've had too much meat and you can't keep from pooping yourself, huh? Swing with me.
Big guy in the front row knows what I'm talking about, don't you, sir? You know your way around a lamb chop, I can see. Anyway, it appears that the concept of a killer bunny, though, is ancient. The soft and harmless and oft-hunted and skinned creature turning on mankind is a thing. Although, what are those giant rabbits that you see on the internet now and again? I can't remember the breed, but those can get aggressive and scare the hell out of you, from what I understand.
Do you think those people, like, living in a village in 1480 were surprisingly happy? You talk about human nature doesn't change, and we've talked about psychological studies. I mean, you kind of have a set point of happiness, and you kind of are like that happy regardless of your circumstances for the most part.
Yeah, good days and bad days, but you generally get back to your median point.
So would the average person back then just been as happy as you are, even though, you know, there's all kinds of disease and pains you can't take care of, and your teeth are rotting out of your head, and you got to work all day long just to survive, but they'd be just as happy as you are because that's just the way we're built.
Well, and if you wander out of your town at night, you'll probably get your head split open and all your stuff taken, because crime was rampant, highwaymen, etc. You know, maybe it was just my delivery. Let me try this again. Therefore, soon he was hit on the back. Forever after, his bottom said quack whenever he should rise to walk. Can you imagine, folks? His bottom quacking and everything. Let's pass the hat now. You've been a great audience.
But you probably had to be pretty careful about anything getting close to religion or God, right?
Yeah, actually, they mentioned a couple. There's one mock sermon that ridicules the priesthood, which they say was pretty edgy. That was part of that, you know, God wants you to finish your beer thing.
Ooh, working blue.
Well, and they would also mock the local nobleman a little bit. How about old Prince Jim over here? I'll tell you what I hear about him. You had to be careful. But that was, you know, taking down the powerful was part of comedy then, is now.
I think I got a new goal for my time machine, if I'm ever in a time machine, is to go to that tavern on some evening and watch the comedy routine and the reactions. God, that would be fascinating.
Oh, are you kidding? What an amazing thought. Yeah.
We do 4 hours every day. If you miss an hour, get the podcast Armstrong and Getty on demand.
Armstrong and Getty.
1080 AM, 104.1 FM, KSCO Santa Cruz, and AM 1340, KOMY La Selva Beach. Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Ukraine has accused Russia of blowing up a major dam at a hydroelectric power plant on the Dnipro River in the southern Kherson region.
Video sent to the BBC by a local resident show the Dnipro River flowing fast, but it's not yet clear how bad the flooding is or will be. There are other dangers too. The dam at Novokakhovka holds back a vast reservoir, which provides cooling water for the Zaporizhia nuclear plant, Europe's largest, around 100 miles upstream. It's not yet clear what caused the breach in the dam, but Ukraine's military intelligence has accused Russia of deliberately blowing it up. This seems plausible, as Moscow may have feared that Ukrainian forces would use the road over the dam to advance into Russian-held territory as part of their counteroffensive.
BBC correspondent Paul Adams. Today is D-Day, the name given to the June 6, 1944 invasion of the beaches of Normandy in northern France. At the time, the D-Day invasion was the largest naval, air, and land operation in history. 4,000 Allied troops were killed by Germans defending the beach. Also at townhall.com, House Majority Leader Steve Scalise of Louisiana says the Biden administration's push to ban gas stoves is absurd.
Does the Biden administration not have more serious problems to deal with than trying to tell families in America what kind of stove they should be cooking their food on?
Republicans accuse the Biden administration of pursuing regulations that could impact the more than 1/3 of American households using gas stoves for cooking. 2 Republican bills to prevent this will be voted on this week. On Wall Street, the Dow is down 9 points, but the NASDAQ is ahead 74. More of these stories at townhall.com.
Hi everybody, this is Dave Michaels, here to let you know that we're having another sale down at the Dave Cave this week, Monday through Friday from 12 till 6 p.m. This week, when you buy your Tangy Tangerine at regular price, you are going to activate a 30% discount on anything else in the store. Now this means that the Tangy Tangerine is not on sale, but everything else will be once you buy your Tangy Tangerine at regular price. This means huge discounts on the Ultimate Daily Classic for blood pressure, Arthrodex for your pets, the Bone and Joint Pack, the Blood Sugar Pack, the Brain and Heart Pack, the Digestion Pack, and even KSCO gear. All of those are going to be sold at huge discounts this week once you buy your Tangy Tangerine at regular price. So, if you like saving money, head down to the Dave Cave and be ready to save this week, Monday through Friday from 12 till 6 p.m. The Dave Cave is at 2300 Portola Drive in Santa Cruz. Unfortunately, no credit cards can be taken at this time.
Your family are greatly blessed.
Authorities in Haiti say 3 people have been killed when a 4.9 magnitude earthquake struck the south of the country. Several others injured. That quake struck before dawn on Tuesday. Hong Kong's government has applied a court injunction against a protest song often mistaken for the territory's national anthem.
The tune, Glory to Hong Kong, was written during protests 4 years ago and has become associated with the pro-democracy movement. On occasions, it's been played in error at sporting events instead of China's national anthem. The authorities believe the tune incites subversion. The injunction would even make it illegal for it to be available on the internet. But in every loophole to prevent this song being heard shows its power to rally protesters and the alarm it instills in Chinese officials.
BBC correspondent Michael Bristow reporting. Breaking news at townhall.com. A man who shot and killed 2 rural Missouri jailers nearly 23 years ago during a failed bid to help an inmate escape. Set to be executed this evening, 42-year-old Michael Tisius, scheduled to die by injection at the state prison in Bonterra. Microsoft will pay a fine of $20 million to settle Federal Trade Commission charges.
It's alleged that Microsoft illegally collected and retained the data of children who signed up to use its Xbox video game console. The agency charged Microsoft gathered the data without notifying parents or obtaining their consent, and it also illegally held on to the data. Microsoft Vice President for Xbox Dave McCarthy has outlined additional steps the company is taking to improve its age verification systems and to ensure that parents are involved in the creation of child accounts for the service.
Respondent Jeremy House with that report. More of these stories at townhall.com. I'm John Scott.
America is about to change big time, and Americans are tired of the big biased media. They want a news source they can trust, and they found one. It's Rob Carson.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson on KSCO.
Real news, no woke, no spin. Start your mornings with Rob Carson.
Just go to KSCO. Don't miss the Rob Carson Show, 9 to noon, right here on KSCO.
To some, a baby's babbling doesn't mean much, but it does. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of KSCO staff, management, or advertisers. If something is said with which you disagree, please let us know by writing to us at comments@ksco.com.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, opinion-leading, and funny show in America, on air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
And I promise we will do all of those things today on this show. We will entertain, we will inform you, we'll make you go, holy crap, really? Are you kidding me? Seriously. There is a lot of stuff on the plate today. Special guest KT McFarland will join us on the show next hour to shed light on all of the malfeasance in Washington, D.C., including the FBI, the most corrupt. You can't even imagine how corrupt the FBI and the deep state are. But if you are paying attention, if you listen to the show, you realize the size and scope of what we're dealing with, and how it's not going to take just a hearing here and a hearing there. It's going to take a new American revolution, and it's going to have to be led by a revolutionary. There are some people I have in mind. One of them was the president, and he got screwed out of an election in 2020. So, without just campaigning for Donald Trump, I'll just tell you, if you are sick of all of this nonsense, we've got to have somebody in the White House who's going to say, okay, enough is enough. Otherwise, it'll just continue to happen. It'll just continue ad nauseum forever. And it's kind of funny because the Jim Comer, he went to the FBI, to Christopher Wray, and said, hey, man, we want to see this unclassified document from when Joe Biden was the vice president that shows he got $5 million as a bribe in exchange for foreign policy decisions. And Jim Comer allowed two, Republican and a Democrat, Jim Comer being one of them, and the doofus from Maryland. And they got to look at it, but he said we're not going to turn it over to Congress, even though it's unclassified. And now Jim Comer is going to hold Christopher Wray in contempt. Probably isn't going to be a whole lot, but that's going to happen tomorrow. Or let me see, today's Tuesday. It'll happen on Thursday. But it's kind of funny because the Republican Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, who is a freshman congresswoman, she's awesome, by the way, says that the FBI fears an informant accusing Joe Biden of criminal bribery could be killed. And I'm like, well, who would be the people who would be most likely to kill him or want him dead? And I'm thinking of two things, actually, the FBI and Joe Biden. So if he's not dead already, then honestly, who's going to kill him? Honestly, is there any other entity or individual who would want this guy dead other than somebody who's already in the government? Somebody who's already in the government covering up all of this bullcrap? All of these lies, all of this nonsense? If that person if they're so terrified that this person could be killed, the FBI would have already killed him. Okay, I'm just saying it. If the FBI is capable of interfering in elections, if the FBI is capable of putting people in jail for speaking out, if the FBI is willing to go after parents who oppose CRT in schools, don't you suppose the FBI would maybe consider murdering somebody? Would you put it past them? Honestly, I'm just saying. The last couple of years, we have seen and we have had revealed to us how unbelievably corrupt our federal government is. Every one of the alphabet agencies that we had faith in for years and years and years, the FBI, they had a TV show about it in the 1960s called The FBI, a Quinn Martin production, and everybody thought the FBI was glorious and FBI and FBI. And yes, of course, I say that there are field officers and field agents who do a great job as law enforcement officials in the FBI, and thank God some of those good people are becoming whistleblowers. But at the same time, I look at overall what the FBI has been up to at the national level in Washington, D.C., and I'm going to say there needs to be a serious reevaluation of funding for the FBI and a serious reevaluation of whether we should even continue to have it. The same goes for the IRS. The IRS should have been gotten rid of years ago. It should have been pared down. It should have been, we should have a very simple tax system in this country that involves a note card. Here's how much you make, how much tax you pay, end of discussion. But there's a massive cabal of people behind the IRS, keeping the IRS in business and making the tax code incredibly difficult to understand. And now we know that the federal government wants to invest billions of dollars in 87,000 new IRS agents. So when you look at how some of these agencies have gone after individuals, including the IRS, don't you suppose they might use the complexity of the tax code to go after people for the slightest error? If the FBI is going to go after parents who protest CRT or people who stand within the safe distance with regard to abortion clinics and pray, don't you suppose that they'll go after people for making a slip on a tax return in 2007? I think so. I think it's completely possible. So we're going to have a wholesale reinvention of the federal government. And that's going to happen with somebody in the White House who comes in and says, we're done with all of this. If you think that person is Mike Pence, who has declared his candidacy, you're out of your nut. And I'll explain why very shortly on the show. But I'll start with Jim Comey this morning, or James Comer, I should say. Comey. Comey is the evil one, okay? Comey is the liar. Comey is the man who needs to be in jail. Comey is the guy who's saying that Joe Biden has to be the president so he doesn't go to jail. All right, he's the ex-director of the FBI who took part in the Russia collusion hoax to try to try to defeat Donald Trump in 2016 that didn't work. And then he was fired and replaced by Christopher Wray. And then the chief counsel for the FBI left the FBI and went to Twitter to throw the 2020 election. But James Comer, was on Rob Finnerty's show this morning talking about this FBI informant who has said that Joe Biden took all of this money from at least Romania. And here he is talking with Rob Finnerty about that this morning.
Well, we know that we've already disclosed what happened in Romania. There are 3 other countries that we found transactions from that we're trying to trace the bank records. We're following the money. But this particular country yesterday, with this particular document with the FBI, pertains to Ukraine.
It's Ukraine. And is Russia on this list?
Russia is on the list of suspicion. We all know that the president's son received millions of dollars from Russian oligarchs, including the wife of the former mayor of Moscow. So that's been in the news a lot. It's just taking a long time to trace these bank accounts. Look.
You know, it's kind of interesting because we're involved in a de facto war with Russia in Ukraine right now. And we also know that approximately $410 million of our money has just kind of disappeared into the upper echelons of leadership in Ukraine. We also know that Joe Biden... So it makes you kind of wonder what we're doing over there, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Or am I just going to fall for the president of Ukraine coming over and speaking before Congress and Nancy Pelosi hanging the Ukrainian flag right there in the houses of Congress and telling us how glorious this war is and how we are behind the people of Ukraine and all of this, and yet it's not catching on with the American people. People aren't only like Democrats in San Francisco. They're still maybe flying the Ukrainian flag just because they fly every flag that is given to them that is woke or is popular at the time. Rainbow flag, Ukraine flag, the whole deal. But doesn't it make you kind of wonder? Well, it should. I mean, it really, really should. And again, if you don't wonder, you're not paying attention. Here's some more from James Comer this morning on Rob Finnerty, Wake Up America on Newsmax.
In this Form 1023 that I got to view yesterday, the oligarch who allegedly bribed Joe Biden when he was vice president said that it would make it almost impossible for anyone to find because they were going to launder it through a series of banks and a series of shows.
Isn't it kind of weird that the Clinton Foundation and the Clinton Global Initiative got hundreds of millions of dollars from Russian oligarchs after she signed off on the Uranium One deal while she was Secretary of State? I'm sure it's purely coincidental.
That's exactly what we've already disclosed to the American people was going on in Romania. Now, when I had the press conference a few weeks ago and disclosed the shell companies that the Biden started, and most of these shell companies were started when Joe Biden was vice president, and the payments that the family received, which happened when Joe Biden was vice president, the liberal media was quick to say, well, they didn't prove any wrongdoing by Joe Biden, which is a joke, but let's just say that was the case. This money's happening somehow. Now we have an FBI document that the FBI's been sitting on for 7 years, and in my opinion, uninvestigated. Now we want that document because we're going to do on the House Oversight Committee what the FBI should have done 7 years ago.
Yeah, should have done it 7 years ago. And what do you suppose, Jim Comer, that they are covering up, by the way?
The claims made in the document are consistent with what we found and disclosed to you all in Romania. It suggests